Good morning. It is March 5th, and you are here for Getting Started with Google 8, Google Calendar. In the perfect world, I would have done these in the right order, but whatever. I'm going to just say it. It's so 2020. It is what it is. All right, Bond, Virginia Bond, Bond Lake James, Virginia Lake the State. And this is the last session of 9, because we did 9 yesterday. It's the last session in this series. All right, here we go. Today, we're going to learn that layout of calendar. I feel like most people use calendar. This is probably going to be more about how to use it efficiently. Understand the difference between a quick ad and what we call a full ad. They call it a quick and a detailed ad. They used to call them like events and dates. They've kind of changed that. Create and use multiple calendars, and then be able to share agendas and documents through calendar. And then if we get to it, we'll use the task option. I'm not so sure we'll get to it. So I don't know about you guys. One of my struggles that I have just in general, not with calendar, but in general, is I actually have to keep multiple calendars. Probably you guys too. Like I have a home calendar. I have a work calendar. I very much a creature of habit. I have a paper calendar, and my paper calendar is more because sometimes it's balancing like holidays, events, things I have to do, bigger thought processes, doctor's appointments. I'm old. Not only for myself, but for my husband. Sometimes even for my kids, I have to be able to look out 5 or 6. Sometimes I have to be able to look out 3 or 4 months in advance. My calendar is crazy. So to make it a little bit more exciting, my calendar for NARIC, the calendar that I have to keep within NARIC, has to be a Outlook calendar, all right? And because we have to lose Outlook. So it's a struggle because I really want to use Google Calendar because it's a better fit for me and I can do more with it. And for a long time, I was keeping like a NARIC Outlook calendar and a NARIC Google Calendar. And I was writing to both of them at the same time. And I was like, oh, and a Google personal calendar. And I was like, oh, this is stupid. I can't do this anymore. So I tried a lot of different things and I finally did come up with a solution. So, and you guys probably don't do this, but this is a way to kind of push your things to each other. You can see this is my personal calendar. I now use one calendar and I write everything to this calendar. So basically, I'm going to pull my Outlook over just so you can see. It's going to make sense. Because no matter what you use at home, even if you use like Yahoo or your spouse uses something else, you can open up an event like this. So this is an event I have in my calendars. You can tell I use a lot of colors. And all I have to do, so my pop-up one over here, I can invite attendees. And what I used to do was do my one calendar, and then I would go in and do my second calendar, right? I would fill in my Outlook calendar, and then I pull my Outlook calendar up, and then I would put all those events into my Google Calendar. And I was like, well, that is stupid. And what I finally realized that is if I added myself as an invitee, it would go, and then those events would be added right into my calendar. That's going to populate over here. It will take a little bit of time, but it will come over. So that just makes my life a lot easier. So I'm only really scheduling one way, and I can schedule from either calendar at either time. So let's just talk about layout. So I'm going to go into typically what I see most people's calendars. They come in and they look at their calendar like this. So down the sidebar at the top, you have the main menu, the icon, what day you're in, your navigation arrow, so I can move from month to month, or whatever your view you're in, and we'll talk about that. You can go from month to month, week to week, day to day, work week to work week, whatever it is. The month you're currently in, so I can go to February and I can go to April, and I can work my way around. If I work across, I have a search bar. So I don't think people know that you can do this. You can actually search your calendar without looking at it, right? Use the power of Google to do what's easy. So if I want to say integrator, right, and I want to find integrator, you notice what it does, it like kind of pulls all my integrator meetings that I had. So if I was looking for the last time I had a tech integrator meeting, it was December 4th. It means I don't have to like find it, remember what color I made it, and go look for it. I can just do a quick search for it. So if you've done a good amount of labeling and it doesn't just say meeting, you're able to search, well, you're able to let Google search for you, which I think is so much easier. There's a support in here. I mean, if you have questions, you can come in and you can ask questions. You have some settings in here, which are really nice. I'm going to go into those real quickly. And these are going to pull you into your calendar settings, right? We're going to come back to this. That's going to be important. And then everything else, I mean, then you have your views. So month is the default view in calendar. I'm not a lover of this, just to be totally brutally honest. I really like week. But I am going to go through all of them. So month is default. You have day. So if I want to look at one day, looks like this, which is kind of awesome, right? It's nice because I can see where I am. So this is today. I have week. Week is what I typically use. So my weeks start on Sunday, they go to Saturday, right? So everything sits in the middle. You have month, which you have. You have year. So if you want to see a whole year, it's great if you're scheduling out with someone, right? You can see all 12 months, 12 years. You can see schedule. I don't think people know this exists. You can come in here and look at schedule. It's called agenda. So if you want to print something, Kristen just had an aha moment, right? This is awesome to be able to print stuff off. It's a nice view to have. And you can also do you don't have a 7-day view. You have a 4-day view. And I've changed my view to a 7-day view. So if I want to see what my life looks like for the next 7 days, yours is probably 4. Now, I also can toggle through these pretty easily by just doing. How do you like that? I muted myself and didn't even know I did it. I didn't know I could do that. M will take me to month. Well, it should. D will take me to day. D will take me to day. Oh, okay. All right. I hate you too, calendar, whatever. Let's just have, I think I muted myself, didn't know I could do that. M will take me to month. D will take me to day. W will take me to week. Y will take me to year. A will take me to schedule. And X will take me to like whatever my custom view is. Okay. So there's a lot of times I will toggle to month just to kind of look and see, like, do I have an open day? Because I'll get a lot of things like, hey, do you have an open day? That's always my favorite question. I'll have an administrator call and say, hey, do you have an open day next week? And I'll be like, sure. So I'll go and look at my calendar, and that's the way I can schedule across. And you see that I have a lot of reoccurring events in here. So, all right. So the other basics of calendar is that once an event has gone by, it becomes pale, like a pastel-y color. And then when they haven't happened, they are solid. I'm going to go up a week and show you a couple other things. A couple other things that if I send an invite for my Outlook mail, if I get invited to something, it is an outline color. So it's outlined, it's not a solid color. So this comes from my other account, which is super helpful. And like you can tell I was invited to these things. These are things that I've signed up for or I was invited to. So that's kind of helpful to know. You can also have it so if you say no to something, it will put like a line through it, or you can cancel it and it won't show. So we're going to look at that as well. So let's do the like simple basics. The simple basics is that these calendars are really a pile of calendars. I think of an overhead projector. Think of like a drawing tool where you layer things on top of each other, right? Everything has a different color. So the more I layer in, the more it'll color up. And I don't keep a ton of stuff in here. I'll put some Google calendars in here and maybe I'll get a lot. I don't know. I keep my Google calendars pretty hidden. Oh, here, let's add this. I'll put some other stuff in. So, oh, the Boston Red Sox aren't playing right now, but the Columbus Blue Jackets are, right? So you'll see, as soon as I add the Blue Jackets in, do you see what happened? They came into my calendar, so I can turn them off and I can turn them on. Because right now, if I turn on all my Christian holidays, maybe not this week, but in the next couple of weeks, you'll see lots of stuff start to populate in. I also keep my Jewish holidays in. And the reason for that is because we have a team member who's Jewish, and it's always nice for me to know, right? Just to be kind of thoughtful. I tend to keep those on, so I can turn them on and off. And when I turn them off, you'll see that they disappear, right? So the biggest mistake people make is that when they write to a calendar, they don't write to the right calendar. They don't write to the correct calendar. I used two different rights in the same sentence, and that was a little confusing. So that's the hardest thing. So, and people get all confused. Well, can I have my personal calendar and my work calendar side by side? Well, you sure can. If I throw up my kid's work calendar, no, that one doesn't work. I don't think she's using it anymore. That's why. This is the one I want. So look at that. See the pink that just came flying in? All of that pink is my daughter's, this is her work schedule, basically. This is when she has meets all across, you know, wherever she is, because she works for the University of Vermont in the athletic department. Sometimes I want to see, like this weekend, I was like, hey, are you coming home? And I know what team she watches. So I'm like, you don't have any meets this weekend. Are you coming home? And she's like, yes. I was like, awesome. Right. So I could just turn them back off. So that's a cool thing because I can bring those in. So let's talk about like adding a meeting. So I have a meeting leader today that I'm going to add in. So I'm going to double click. I'm going to just click one time. Anytime I do a click one time, it's a click, quick, add. Okay. Click, quick, add is one click. So you'll see what it is. So I'm just going to put in here meeting. Okay. Meeting. It's an event. Yes, it is. I could make tasks. I personally don't use tasks in mine. That's just, I'm not sure why, I just don't. The time, it is actually at 10 o'clock. It's a 10:15 meeting, so it's perfect. Do I need to add guests? I sure do. I'm going to add my other email in. This is how I email myself back and forth to keep myself there. It'll feed to my other calendar. I don't need a meet. It's actually just going to be a phone call. So I'm just going to put PC after that because I know that's a phone call. And then when I come down in here, this is where I can add the color. I can click in here and I can put a color because it will default to my calendar. Well, what is my calendar? My calendar is the first one I see on the left-hand side with my name on it, and it says my name. That is my calendar. Everything will default to there if I start there. And then when I look at it, I can pick from any of my other calendars in here, right? I can choose another calendar if I want to. I'm going to start here, and then I can pick a color. So it defaults to the color of your calendar. So my Key Virginia Bond calendar defaults to this like periwinkle purpley because it's my favorite color. So I picked that. But I have there are other colors in here, and I can choose one of those other colors. For me, my meetings are always green. Okay, that's my default color for a meeting. So if I have a meeting or a phone call or something like that, it's green. So you can tell, yes, I do. And it'll say, do you want to send it? And I say, yes. So that was a quick add. I only have to do as much as I want to do. I don't have to do a ton. I don't have to do it all. I typically need the name of what it is and what it is. Now, if I want to change it, I can come into it and click it one time. I get the pencil. Oh, I want to click it so that I think it's because it's so little I can't get to it. I'll go to day, and then I will be able to get into it. Here, where'd it go? Oh, it went to the beginning of the meeting. That was weird. I'll click right in there, click on it, and now I can edit it. I can click the pen and I can edit the event. So when I edit it, I get more options. So let's look at all these options because I think these are important. Time zone. So it probably doesn't, it may not seem important to you, but like I do a lot of simple K-12 webinars that I get invited to, and they're always like, they'll say like CST. I had to write a note on top of my calendar that Pacific time is plus 3 hours because I can't remember, and I always end up having to look it up, right? I know that Central is 1, Mountain is 2. I don't know why I can't remember Pacific. I don't know. It seems weird to me, but anyway, so you can change it. So right now I'm staying in the same time zone, but when you come in, it says event time zone, which is nice because then it'll tell you, okay, so if it's 10 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, I have to add 3, so it's 1 o'clock here, right? So I just have to remember that. And I've made, it's easy to make mistakes like that because we're just like, oh, I wanted it at 10 o'clock, nobody was there. And then you're like, oh, it was 10 o'clock Pacific Time. Or you miss it. We don't typically miss it the other way because we don't have much the other way. So that one. Then I can also add notifications. So you'll see in my system, I have multiple notifications. I have minutes. So a notification is a pop-up on your screen or on your phone. I also have emails. So if I go to my Gmail and I open a new tab right there, and I go to mail, you will notice when I get in here, I should have in my updates from today should include my Google Calendars. I might be lying too. They might come into my social. I don't know where they are today. Boy, oh boy, come on. Don't kill me now. Where are they? I don't have much today. That's probably why. Did they come here? I get emails from Google Calendar. Not today. Oh, there they are. Jeez, I'm like, where'd they go? Down here. So what it does is it sends me an email in Google Calendar. So I can have events sent right to myself. So why is that important? Well, it's really great if you have to schedule a meeting with people. You get to push these out the amount of time. You can do minutes, hours, days, weeks. And you can choose. I am going to take these off. Like I typically don't need these 2 different emails, but I do like a notification. So if you're going to push out meetings for an entire year, you can push them out and you can add these notifications. They'll feed right into their calendar and they'll have these notifications. They'll get 2 emails and then a notification, however many minutes you want. And you can take it down to 3 minutes. This is nice if you're changing class. It's good if you need a notification when you're online teaching and you want to remind yourself that, in like, you guys have 3 minutes to get to class. It's great for a kid who's not showing up to an online class. You can send this. It's really good for the administrator who never remembers there is a meeting. I would never say that would happen, Donna, right? But we all know there's always like, I didn't know there was a meeting. And it also means that like as a secretary that you don't have to push out those kind of things. When you set up the meeting as a calendar event, you can push it out and you can have it that way. So it's simple. One of the things I always do is if I put a doctor's appointment in, I always add a notification or I add an email and I put it out a week before it happens. Because sometimes my doctor's appointments right now are all in May and they're really close together. So I made them in November, like 6 months ago. I don't remember that, right? So one of them is I have to give blood work, which means I have to register, which means because I have to go to the hospital now, and I just found this out, I have to get a COVID test 72 hours before I go in. So I have to get tested before I go to the hospital to get my blood work to go to the doctor. So I have to schedule all of that. So it's just easier if I come in here and I put it into my calendar and just make it a quick event to remind myself to do that because I'm going to use this for benefit. So calendars, then you also can have like, how do you want it to be open? Do you want it to be busy versus free? And do you want to have it as default visibility? It's like anybody can come in and see what's going on in my calendar. I don't care. Do you want to have it as a public calendar or a private calendar? School calendars are almost always public. That means Anybody in the agency can come in and see what's in your calendar. The issue is that most people don't use a calendar. So becomes a little bit of like, oh, okay, but you can. One of the other things you can do is you can actually come into the description area and you can add an attachment. So let's see that this is going to be a meeting that I'm going to have. It is a meeting that I have. And I'm going to come in here and I'm going to grab this document right here and I'm going to attach it. So this is going to be sent. I could add some like, please review before meeting. Okay. And I'm going to save it. And this is going to go and I'm going to say, yes, I'm going to have it send out. So what it's going to do is when it comes in here, you'll notice it has this document already attached to it. And that is awesome. So if you have meetings that you need an agenda with, it would be great if you use the same agenda for the whole year. I've been trying to convince people that I work with that that would be a great idea. One agenda for an entire year for one meeting. So like our team meeting, we meet once a week. Wouldn't it be great if we had the entire agenda for the whole year? You just did a running agenda, and if you attached it into a calendar event, it would be easy because it would always be there. So think about the simpleness of that for a student. It's the same exact thing because Google Classroom calendars feed like that with the attachment right in it. So it also fixes the problem of the person who says, well, I don't know when the meeting is, and I don't know where the agenda is. And you have to just say, the agenda's in your calendar. You just have to go get it because you can't lose it that way. And I really like keeping it that simple. You can add your own agenda in as well. If you just want your notes in there, you can do that. You can attach your notes in so you have them. And if it's a reoccurring event, it's going to pop up in every one of those. Okay, you see where I am in that document. I never stay in there. Look at this. Okay, so attending. I'm going to use my split screen. So I think we did this. We did some of these, but not all of them. And I'm going to go into my week view because it's easier to see. Oh, thank you. So attending is in a solid color. Answered maybe. So if you like, if I got something like right here, I'm going to do this one. If I did maybe, see what happens to my lines. I got different kinds of lines came in, like the diagonal lines. I just want you to know that I am, yes, taking the morning off. So that is not a maybe because I am taking the morning off on Monday, right? Haven't replied yet. Oh, so these are ones I haven't replied yet, basically because these were, I was invited to these, so there's nothing that I can reply to. I made those, right? And then no, if you say no to event, so if I say no to this right here, and I say no, see what happens to the difference? They cross out. So when I say no, it's crossed out. When I say maybe, and they always pop back up. Oops, so sorry. I just lost where I was. Go that way. When I click on this event, and I click maybe, I'll have those lines across it. Okay, so that's kind of nice to know what the different kind of symbols mean. All right, so let's customize a little bit. So I said before, if you go into settings, there's a full things, we've done all these, but one of the fun things, day. Oh, I'll do that in a minute. Okay, I know what I mean. If I come into my calendar, or I go over to the sidebar and look at my calendar and go to the three dots, the vertical ellipses, the snowman, the traffic light. I have this down to a science, and I click on that, and I go into settings. That was, by the way, I'm going to go back for a minute. That is where I picked my default color for my calendar. So they've changed this. They have a lot of colors for calendars now. So if you want to change it to a color you like, make it a color you like. And that's how you have all of these calendars being different colors. Because you could change a default color on any calendar. Right? So if I want my birthdays to be like, if I want these birthdays, which is what I made, to be like a pinky, I can make that. See, then when they feed in, everyone will come in a different color if I don't override it with a color. So I'm going to come into my settings, And I'm going to work my way through these. So the top is my name. Now, it's really important because this calendar right here is your default calendar. This is the only calendar you cannot delete. You could get rid of all the events, but if you get rid of all the events, it will clear everything future and past out of it. And that's not always the best idea. Other calendars I can remove, not this one. Now I can either navigate down my way like this, or I can just scroll down the page and work my way down the page, which is typically what I do. So the time zone, this is where I am. Would you ever need to change your time zone? Sometimes. My daughter went to school in North Dakota for 3 years. So I changed the time zone she was out there when I went to visit her, because then I would get my stuff but I would see it in her time zone. It made it a lot easier. Do I want to keep my calendar open for people to be able to see it? I do, and there's a reason for that. I use an app called BookMe. So if you ever see it in my signature line, you will notice that you can actually come in and you can book an appointment into my calendar. You can book me right there. I did. So anybody can come. I give people almost full access into my calendar. So I have no bookings for the next, until 11:30 on Monday. So you can see my open slots in my days that people can come in and they can book a time. They can come in, they can click on a time, and they can book a time. So this is aligned right to my Google Calendar. It keeps it, that's one of the reasons why I like using it. Keeps it pretty simple for me. So my calendar is booked. I can share my calendar with specific people. And you notice that I do. I share it with myself, which sounds weird, but I'm able to be in either one of my Google accounts, and I can make changes and add events. And then both my kids have access to my calendar. Now that's weird, but I mean, my kids are both adults, and there's a lot of times they'll be like, hey, I see you're in Albany. Could you go to Trader Joe's and get me that? And I'll be like, yeah. Right? So they do that. It's really, they're like, I'll Venmo you the money, right? You can tell you have adults, so they start to do that. This is good too if you want to share with a colleague, or if you want to share with other people. And my kids will be like, my son lives in Norfolk, which is 45 minutes from here. He'll be like, hey, I see you're open for lunch. Do you want me to bring you lunch? I mean, that's kind of sweet, right? He's almost 28. He'll say, hey, we're coming over. You want to do lunch? I see you're open. Yes. So that's nice. I can also set this notification. And I just told you guys, I want to change this. So this is my default notifications. So anytime I open a new event, if I always want to have a 10-minute notification and a 1-day email, I can do that. I can still be in calendar and add another notification if I want. I think you can have up to 5. So that's always good for the kid that can't get out of bed for the first class of the day if they're remote. You can set them a 10-minute. It's like your own little snooze. If you create the event, you create the notifications that go with it. Woo, that's a fun one. You can also do I want to do all day event notifications? I sure do. So this is when I'm out. I will get an email 1 day before at 8 o'clock. So typically, sometimes they come I think I have them set so they default to me at 6 o'clock in the morning, which most people are like, holy crap, but I'm in the process of getting ready at that point. So then what other kind of notifications do I want? Do I want an email when an event is added to this calendar? Nope. Do I want an event when a calendar is changed? Nope. Do I want one when an event is canceled? Yeah, I want email, right? You can do an email or none. So those are your 2 options. And you do get to change it. I really like that. Do I want a response when a guest responds to an event in this calendar? No. Do I want a daily agenda? No, but you can. So Kristen, I saw your eyes light up when you saw the thing about the schedule. You can make this email you a daily agenda. So this is great for kids with disabilities. It's great for students in college. If there's ever a life skill that kids need, it's calendar, right? They need to learn how to manage their lives. But it's also, so you can make Google do the work for you. You can make it email you your calendar. You can say, here, just email me my agenda, right? So that's kind of awesome. I love that because it means you don't have to do work. This integration of calendar, when you want to share calendars, if someone ever says, hey, is there a public URL for your calendar? It's in here. For most school districts, your calendar is public within the building, as in they can find you, but most people don't use them. I mean, unless they're, I say that it's most people like use it sporadically. I think admins use it more than anyone else. Then down at the bottom, you can remove a calendar. So you see this. If I remove it, it's going to delete all the events. So I'm not doing that. The minute I hit the back arrow, I save it. I am going to go in and I'm going to take my Becca's work schedule out. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to go into settings and sharing. And I'm going to come down to the bottom because I built this calendar. And do I want to unsubscribe to it? It means I won't have access to it, or do I want to delete it? I actually want to delete it. So no one will be able to use it anymore. Becca doesn't use it. I don't use it. It's going to delete from my list. That's fantastic. So what's the difference between deleting one and hiding one? Because I can delete them and I can hide them. So if I come to the three dots, you have those two options. You can, well, no, you have to go into settings to delete, but I can hide them. So if I don't want to see my Google Classroom ones, which I really don't want to, I can hide them all from my list and I can get rid of them. And maybe I come down here and I'm like, you know, I don't probably this family one. I don't even remember why we have this one. I don't think there's anything in here, but I can hide it from the list, right? Because in actuality, I probably have 30, 40, 50 different calendars, right? But I don't show them all at one time. If I come back into my calendar and I click into here and I come down, it will show me at some point. Can I see all my calendars? There is a way. Where are they? Settings for my calendars. Oh, here they are. They come, there they are. There's all of them. See them all? And you can tell the ones that are hidden. Hidden, 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 view, right? So there's my list of all those calendars, tons of them. So you can kind of, because you make a decision after a while, like I don't really need the University of New Hampshire anymore. That's where my daughter used to work. I don't need my SR calendar anymore. So you just kind of pick and choose what you want. So that's super helpful. Okay, let's put that back down in there. All right, and let's put those all back together. Sorry if I just made you ill. I'm almost done. So let's look at how to see another calendar. So let's come down here and I want to add a calendar to my information. I'm going to click the plus sign and it's going to say, okay, by the way, that was just a notification. Did you hear it go ping, ping, ping? It's telling me it's 10 minutes out from my tech integrators meeting that I have. So I have a meeting at 9 o'clock. That's what it sounds like. Ping, ping, ping. Right? I use that works better for me than a pop-up. So I am going to browse for a calendar of interest. So I can come in here and say, I'm going to look at hockey. I love hockey. And I'm going to look at the National Hockey League. And I already subscribed to the Columbus Blue Jackets, but I'm also going to subscribe to the Carolina Hurricanes. Okay. So two of my favorite teams, and just for fun, let's put the Ottawa Senators up there. All right, all done. Remember, when I hit the back arrow, it's the equivalent of save. I have now subscribed to all of them, and all the hockey games started to fill into the calendar. So this is great if you love a sports team and you don't want to have to go check it. You can pull their calendars right in, right? So which is kind of nice. And I can get to see like when do my two teams like play each other. That's always kind of nice. You can also color code these. So what if I want my Ottawa Senators to not be blue because they should be red, right? And my Columbus Blue Jackets should be, I don't know, maybe they should be blue, right? We'll make them dark blue. And then I lost my other one. Oh, there's my Hurricanes. Now, there's a problem. My Hurricanes actually have to be red and my Senators have to be a different color. So I'll take them to the gray. So then I have like the three colors showing and I can see which one I want to see. So you can pull in a sports team that you like, which I think is really great. It's pretty simple. Okay. Calendar settings. Oh, we went through all these. That was good. Did them quickly. So I did that. So what if I want to add a new calendar? So like somebody says to you, make a new calendar, and I come up here, and these are my calendars. These are the ones that I built, but I want to make one. Jeez, when I come into my calendar like this, and I come into settings, when I want to make a calendar, I come into my calendars, I go into mine, and I can add a calendar. So if somebody says, what do you want to do? You want to create a calendar, you can do it right from there. Now, if you have a student that goes, or if you have a child that goes to school at college and you want to see their college schedule, you can go, you will see somewhere, like the way I grab my daughter's UVM schedule, they will have it somewhere on their webpage. Subscribe to this calendar, and they'll say from Google. And all you do is you grab the URL and you push it. So when I put it in there, you just type in the URL and you'll be able to see that. What's the benefit of that? What's the benefit of a Google Calendar ever? As soon as it updates, you get the updates. So for those of you who have kids playing softball or baseball or track, right? Get the coach to make a Google Calendar. So when the games get moved, they don't have to email you, because all they really have to do is this. So let's go to today's session. Oh, this is next week's. Let's go to next. This is the Google Calendar session that we had. This is all I have to do, right? I don't have to rework the event. As soon as I click and dragged it from Wednesday to Friday, it automatically changed from Wednesday to Friday. So when games get canceled, because we know in the spring that happens all the time, right? Or they get postponed because the field is too wet, or whatever that may be, they can just click and drag those blocks around, and it automatically changes things, which is also why I love it, because it's so easy to mandate. And then it just says to you, if it changes calendars, it changes in calendars for all the participants as well. Yes, Katrina. Yep. So it's kind of like a game changer, because it means you don't have to do anything. Yeah, if you own the event and you move it, it changes for everybody. It changes their view. So think about families, like big families that try to schedule events. How many times do we do emails that move stuff all over the place, right? Where you can kind of put them all in like this way and kind of schedule. And I really started to use Google Calendar with my kids, because I had them both in college, and they were well, one was in North Dakota and one was in Potsdam, which doesn't sound hard, but it's just a nice way to keep track of them. And it was easier than them calling me or messaging me. Just made it easier for my world. I am almost done. All right. Let me see where we are. New calendar. Oh, we went through that. Okay, we did single click, we did double click. Okay, so here's a big one. If you do an event, so like it's something that's full day, you'll get a banner, right? You get a banner up here. So you'll see this is an event. I have Salmon River TI. If I do a timed event, it comes into my calendar. So that's the difference between the two. We've done full event ads, we've done full details. Reminders or tasks. I don't think reminders even exist anymore. Let me look. I don't know. You also have over here tasks. If I pop this open on the side, it will allow me to add a little task. So I love this. Bring book to school for Suzy Q. This is from when I took my Google exam, by the way. I think it's still sitting in here. So how to practice it. You can add a task. So I'm going to add a task. I need to do mileage. And it just comes in. It's just a task. They just sit over here. It's the equivalent. I use Google Keep more than I use tasks. That's just me. But if this works for you, it's very helpful. If you want a list of your to-do list to have it sit over here while you look at your calendar, that's a great thing. You can have those side by side. You can also just open up your Google Keep on the same side. See that integration? And remember, there's my list of the things, like I got this done yesterday, right? I got a couple things done. I got this done. Okay, I got 2 of those things done on my list that we made yesterday. This is the same thing. Tasks and Keep kind of do the same thing. Just depends on what you like more, which one you are more comfortable with. Then I'm just checking my way through. Edit an event. This is the old way that calendar used to look. You just double click on the pencil. I did all those. Perfect. Oh, no, I got one more thing. This is cool. And this is like one of the things I never really remember. If I take this right here and I want to duplicate it, I can duplicate the event, right? And it has here, and I can just take it and I can just change the day. It literally makes it all the same thing, save, and pushes it here. So now I have two of them. But let me do one more of these so you can see it. I'm going to open this up. A reoccurrence. I come in and do not repeat, and I come into custom. If I want something to happen every week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, right, at a certain time, I can make it happen, or I can make it stop after 10 occurrences. And I just say done, and then save, and they will all populate. See how I now have an appointment 8 to 9:30 every day for a whole pile? That's how you push those out multiples at a time. What if I want to get rid of it? I just come in here and I delete, and it'll say this one or all of them. I'm going to say all. Oh, no. Better be careful. Because the reason I'm off that morning is because I have an appointment right there. This one, I'm going to delete this one, all the following events. Say okay. So that's how you do a reoccurring event. It's pretty easy. Questions? Any questions? I think the notifications are huge. Adding notifications for yourself and for your kids. Having the ability to add in agendas. Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing. Thanks, everybody. It was fun to have you guys Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursdays for a couple weeks, and added Friday for fun, just to send you off with a bang. You guys know in my email is always open. You have the booking app in my calendar, so if you ever have a question, you're working on something, you can't make it work, please feel free to go into my calendar, book a 30-minute session, and it doesn't matter the questions. And sometimes I have people come in for 10 minutes, and I have other people come in, they're just like, okay, I know we did this, but I don't remember how to do it. Can you like walk me through it again? Or you get stuck, like something doesn't seem to be working, and you can just follow up and I can help. So let me know if you have any questions. I'm always here. It really is my job. I promise. I do have this with me, by the way. It's sitting right here, see? I do have that. I'm just freezing. I put something else on. So have a great day. I'm going to stop recording, and thank you so much.